There is a snow band setting up right now across eastern Nebraska and southern Iowa that most people did not see coming. And if you are commuting through the Omaha area or through the corridor near Quincy this morning, you are about to find out about it the hard way. This is a hyper-localized, intense band of wet snow, falling at rates exceeding an inch per hour in the heaviest bursts. 2 to 4 inches of accumulation is the expectation. Some isolated pockets could reach 6 inches. And this is the kind of snow that lands on roads that were perfectly dry yesterday and coats them within minutes. Not hours, minutes. The morning commute from Omaha through Des Moines is going to be significantly disrupted by this band. This is the weather equivalent of a surprise. A narrow, intense snow band that forms when upper-level dynamics and surface moisture come together in a very specific corridor. It was not on most people's radar yesterday. It is happening now. Take it seriously on the roads this morning. Now, while that snow band is developing across the Midwest, something very different is unfolding in the Southeast, and the contrast between what is happening in Florida versus what is happening just north of Florida right now is one of the more striking meteorological juxtapositions of this entire spring season. Florida, specifically the Orlando and Miami corridors, is dealing with a stalled frontal boundary, and stalled fronts over Florida in spring are not gentle. 2 to 5 inches of rainfall has been falling in some locations. Cars are stalling in flooded underpasses. Airport operations in Orlando and Miami are feeling the impact of standing water and reduced visibility. Flash flooding is the acute concern for the eastern side of the Florida peninsula over the next 24 hours. But step north of that same frontal boundary, into south-central Georgia, into the Florida panhandle, into the corridor near Albany, Valdosta, and across toward Panama City and Tallahassee, and the weather is the exact opposite. Bone-dry air, northeasterly winds, critically low humidity, a stalled front that is keeping all of Florida's moisture in place, while the areas just north of it bake under dry, gusty conditions. Critical fire weather has been flagged for this zone. The vegetation in south-central Georgia and across the Florida panhandle has been drying out for weeks, and today's combination of strong wind and very low relative humidity creates conditions where a single ignition source, a spark from farm equipment, a downed power line, an ember from a small burn pile, can produce a fire that spreads faster than people can respond to it. If you are anywhere in south-central Georgia or the Florida panhandle today, treat any potential ignition source as if you are handling fuel next to an open flame. This is not an exaggeration. The fire weather conditions right now in this specific zone are among the most dangerous we have seen this spring. Let's shift forward in the week, because the setup that is developing for the weekend deserves your full attention right now, not Sunday afternoon. Saturday brings the opening act of what could be a 2-day severe weather sequence in the southern plains. The focus is West Texas, specifically the Amarillo, Lubbock, and Midland corridor. A dry line is going to push east across the Texas panhandle on Saturday afternoon, colliding with deep Gulf moisture that has been building up behind it. When a dry line taps into that kind of surface moisture, this early in the season, with this much energy available, the atmosphere tends to explode. Discrete supercells will develop along the dry line through Saturday afternoon. These storms will be capable of producing very large hail, destructive hail, the kind that strips paint from vehicles, shatters windshields, and tears through roofing material on houses and barns. Damaging winds are also on the table, and tornadoes are possible. Not the primary concern on Saturday, but real. The West Texas panhandle is wide open terrain. Supercells that develop in this environment have room to organize, room to breathe, room to become truly dangerous. There are no mountain ranges interrupting the airflow, no urban heat islands modifying the instability, just flat, dry land, a volatile atmosphere, and storms that can track for 100 miles without a single topographic obstacle. If you are in the Amarillo or Lubbock areas Saturday afternoon, be weather aware. These storms can produce hail damage across large swaths of territory in a very short time window. There is also a secondary concern that is unique to this geographic area on Saturday. The drought conditions across West Texas have been severe. The ground has hardened to the point where rainfall runs off rather than absorbs. When you put 2 to 3 inches of rainfall on top of that kind of hardened soil in a short period, you get rapid flash flooding. So on Saturday, the same supercells producing large hail and potential tornadoes could also trigger localized flash flooding across areas that have not seen meaningful rain in weeks. A dual threat in a region that was bone dry heading into the weekend. Now, Sunday. This is the day I want you to be most prepared for. The storm system that fired over West Texas on Saturday begins moving east on Sunday. And as it does, a critical element changes: timing. What was a daytime storm threat on Saturday becomes a nighttime storm threat on Sunday as the system approaches Oklahoma and central and north Texas. The 15% severe weather probability zone on Sunday covers Oklahoma City, Norman, the western Fort Worth area, San Angelo, and Abilene. This is a significant risk designation across a densely populated corridor. But the element that makes Sunday more dangerous than Saturday is not the probability, it is the hour. The most intense storm activity is expected after sunset, into the overnight hours, when most of the population in Oklahoma and North Texas is asleep. Nighttime tornadoes operate in a completely different threat environment than daytime tornadoes. During the day, if a strong supercell is approaching your area, you can look out the window, you can see the sky darkening, you can see the rotation, you have visual information that helps you decide when to act. At night, none of that is available. The funnel is invisible, the debris cloud is invisible. The tornado is moving through the dark. The only information you have is the alert on your phone. And here is the additional layer of risk. Baseball-sized hail is expected with Sunday's supercells. 70-mile-per-hour straight-line winds are expected along the score line as it consolidates. If your phone does not have alerts enabled, if your phone is silenced for the night or left in another room, you are relying on outdoor sirens to wake you up. Outdoor sirens were not designed to penetrate closed windows, interior rooms, and sleep. They work imperfectly in the best conditions. Have your phone charged, have it in the room with you, have the volume high enough to hear through sleep. Know where your shelter location is in your home, the lowest interior room, away from windows, before you go to sleep Sunday night. Do not try to figure this out when a warning sounds at 2 in the morning. And one more element of Sunday's pattern that I want to address: the I-35 corridor. Oklahoma City through Norman, through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is one of the most heavily traveled highway corridors in the south-central United States. And during Sunday night's severe weather window, driving on I-35 is something that should be avoided. If a supercell producing a tornado crosses that highway while traffic is moving, the consequences are severe. Make your travel decisions before dark on Sunday. If you can be off the road by 8 or 9 o'clock Sunday evening, do that. Let me also quickly address what happens after the weekend. Because the mid-April pattern is not winding down. A massive low-pressure system is developing for the period between roughly April 11th and 19th. The area from St. Louis eastward through Cincinnati is in the footprint of what could be daily severe weather and flood-producing rainfall for much of that stretch. This is not a one-day event with a clear end. This is a multi-day, high-frequency pattern that keeps reloading across the same geographic zone day after day. River flooding, not just flash flooding, becomes a significant concern when a pattern like this sets up and holds. We will cover the mid-April setup in much more detail as it develops, but you should be aware of it now. Start thinking about your preparedness for that period in advance, not in the middle of it. Here is your timeline. This morning, eastern Nebraska, southern Iowa. Intense snow band causing rapid road deterioration. Omaha through Des Moines in the heaviest zone. Take it slow on the roads. The accumulation is happening faster than standard road treatment can manage. Today and tomorrow, Florida and Georgia. Heavy rainfall and flash flooding in the Orlando and Miami corridors. Critical fire weather in south-central Georgia and the Florida panhandle. Dry, gusty winds over drought-stressed vegetation. Treat all ignition sources with extreme caution. Midweek, Kansas and southern Nebraska. Marginal severe threat. Isolated hail and gusty winds. Not a major event, but watch for brief severe weather. Saturday, West Texas Panhandle, dry line outbreak, Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland in the primary zone. Large destructive hail and damaging winds. Tornadoes possible. Flash flooding from drought-hardened ground. Sunday, Oklahoma and north-central Texas. 15% severe threat. Nighttime. Baseball-sized hail. 70-mile-per-hour winds. Tornado risk after dark. I-35 corridor in the direct path. Have alerts on, shelter location ready, be off the road by evening. April 11th through 19th. Daily severe weather and flooding risk from St. Louis through Cincinnati. Multi-day pattern. River flooding threat. Details coming as the pattern sharpens. We will keep watching all of it. See you in the next update.